Hey everybody, it's GauntletX and welcome back to some more Magic Green, and today's video was previously streamed live during the Early Access event, so thank you very much to Wizards of the Coast for providing me with the Early Access account. But without further ado, let's just get into the video. Alright, so here we are, first draft of the night. Got a Joyra, Ageless Innovator, one of my favorite characters, a really cool card, but not something that's going to work particularly well in draft. There just aren't a lot of artifacts in this format, so she's not really a back one. Pick one. We've got some sweet commons. Phyrexian Rager is a pretty nice black common here. Replaces itself with card advantage, you just draw a card. Keldon Strike Team is really good in Boros aggro decks, because for 5 mana you're going to get a 3/1, 2/1/1s, and they're all going to have haste. Juniper Order Rootweaver is good in white-green. As you can see by it being a very multicolored, very splashy format, 2 of the cards I just mentioned that are quite good are off-color kicker cards that are basically multicolored cards. You want this to be the green-white card that gets a +1/+1 counter. Scout the Wilderness is good if you can kick that as well. I like the dual lands all a lot, but I think I'm going to go with one of these uncommons, and I think it's going to be Terra Sunder. This card is like not very good if you're just mono green. It's 2 mana to exile an artifact or enchantment at instant speed, like that's fine. But if you're green black, a green black and 2 to exile target non-land permanent at instant speed, it's a pretty dang good deal. So I'm going to start with that here. The Weatherseed Treaty seems quite nice as well. This is a 3 mana saga. Searches your library for a basic land, puts on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffles. That is already a card that I would be mildly interested in a domain deck. But in order to make it actually pretty playable, you're also going to get a 1/1 Sapperling on the board to chump block with, and then you're also going to get a little buff out of this later. So I think Weatherseed Treaty, if the format plays slow enough, is going to be a really solid uncommon saga, and I'm pretty happy to go with that after a pick 1 Terra Sunder, because this is the kind of black card you don't even need to be green-black. You can just splash in a couple swamps if you can tutor them out with Weatherseed Treaty type cards. There's other good stuff in here. Runic Shot is fine, very cheap way to destroy a tapped creature. Argivian Cavalier is probably the best common here, a 2/2 and a 1/1, and the 2/2 has a list. This is a pretty efficient little beat stick. Magnagoth Sentry is an efficient creature. A bunch of good stuff early in the packs, but Weatherseed Treaty looks pretty interesting, pretty good here. Yeah, that's very true, Nitros. I think there's going to be more 3-color in this format than there was in Streets of New Capenna, which is really sad. I think it's going to be almost 3-color all the time here, but I don't know. Just the mana is really good with these lands. We've got a Djinn of the Fountain in blue here. 6 mana 4/4 flyer. When you cast an instant or sorcery, you do something. It's not an enter the battlefield effect. You have to wait till you cast another instant or sorcery after you played a 6-drop. I mean, it's a game ender, but I don't know if that's pushing me into blue when we have Linebreaker Baloth, which seems like a big green finisher as well. A 5 mana 4/5 that can't be blocked by chump blockers, can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less, and it can enlist to just do 1,000,000 damage. Linebreaker Baloth seems pretty big, where I'm probably taking it over Bite Down, which is pretty good instant speed green removal, but this card just seems huge. There's also Rada if we want to be the dedicated domain deck that can do a bunch of extra +X, but Baloth seems pretty sweet. Seems pretty dang sweet. This is an incredibly splashable removal spell. Leyline Binding, it's basically an Oblivion Ring Banishing Light type card, but it's instant speed, it has flash. So for a white and 5, you exile a non-land permanent until this leaves the battlefield, and it costs 1 less to cast for each land type among lands you control. So if you're just green-white, it's going to be 4 mana and instant speed Banishing Light. If you're 3 colors, it's 3 mana for instant speed Banishing Light. Definitely going to take Leyline Binding here. This thing slaps. Slimefoot Survey's probably, even in a slow format, this feels like it's probably too slow. This does let you pull out cards that have a basic land type, so it lets you hit non-basics, which is cool. I think Magnagoth Sentry is probably like the best non-Leyline Binding card in here for us, but Deathbloom Gardener is interesting for hitting off-color kicker effects. Bog Badger's pretty solid. A 3 mana 3/3 as your worst case scenario, and if you can kick it, it's a pretty solid kicker effect. We already have another black kicker effect off of Terra Sunder. But yeah, 3 mana 3/3 is just on rate, that's just good. Phalanx is nice if you have a creature heavy deck. This shouldn't be that expensive. It is very cool to be back on Dominaria United. Drawbridge seems a little slow. Usually the 1 mana white creature that spends 2 to tap a creature is pretty good, but 3 to tap a creature is a bit much. Could take Sacred Peaks and just for Leyline Binding and for more domain stuff. Could be Sacred Peaks, could be Bog Badger. I'm actually not sure at this point in the format. I'm going to take Sacred Peaks. I don't think Bog Badger, it's like solid, but I feel like there could be a pretty big upside of just picking up a lot of these random domain duels. That could absolutely be wrong, but I'm not sure yet. Floriferous Vine Wall. I'm not in love with this card, but theoretically it's your 2-mana creature you're going to put on the board to block with, and it's going to pull out another land from your deck. Out of the top 6. You can miss with this, though, because it doesn't search your library, it just searches the top 6. Should be unlikely, though. Probably green-white with Leyline Binding in here, so we could just take Mesa Cavalier as a pretty nice flyer. Could take Techova. She is really, really slow, but if you get 7 lands, which is pretty sick. I could try Techova. I have no idea. Does every pack have a dual lands? I'm actually not sure yet. I think every pack has on average one, but it's weird because I've seen some packs that have 2 in them. So I'm actually not sure. I thought it was going to be every pack has 1. But yeah, then I've seen some packs with 2. So I'm guessing some have 2, some have 0, some have 1. I'm guessing it's more random than it was before, unfortunately. This pack seems pretty bad. Phalanx is probably the best, though. Every pack does have a legendary. That is true. Phalanx is fine if we're green-white tokens. Ooh, yeah, see, there's 2 in here. There's Sacred Peaks and Tangled Islet. Tangled Islet seems wonderful since we've got a Techova in here. Green-blue also seem like the colors that are going to be doing the most splashing. Protect the Negotiators is pretty dang good in blue-white. And we might be banned green-blue-white here. Probably not. Warleech is cool in black. We're not taking any black cards yet. I think I'm just taking the land. Ooh, we wield the Scour the Wilderness, which seems good for a green-white domain deck. Pulls out a land. If you have 5 mana, you pull out a land and make 2 1/1s, so very good against like the 3/1 aggressive creatures in the Boros decks. 2 1/1 blockers. Slimefoot Survey is cool, but again, 5 mana. 5 mana is a really hard sell on the ramp if it's not putting any bodies out, and Scout is putting bodies on the board. I guess Juniper, well, maybe it's Juniper Order. If we're going to be a more just consistent aggressive strategy, Juniper Order Weaver could be a lot better, because currently, with the way our draft pod is looking, we could be literally just green-white and not even need to do all this domain stuff. How much does this cost? If you have 2 land types, it still costs 6? Don't really want to play a drawbridge, though. I don't think this is very good. If you have 4 land types, it's a green and 3, it's a 4 mana 4/6. Even that's not like the craziest payoff ever. By the time you have 4 land types, you've probably spent some land tutors already, some rampant growth type spells. I like Deathbloom Gardener. Here, help us get off-color kickers. Librarian's fine too. This is nonsense. Big old Scry Turtle or a second drawbridge. Don't really want either. Alright, pack 2. What have we got for this green-white deck? Sten, Paranoid Partisan. 2 mana 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, choose a card type other than creature or land. Spells you cast the chosen type cost 1 less. So your instants, sorceries, artifacts, or enchantments cost 1 less to cast. That doesn't really do anything in our deck. Yeah, there's 3 lands in this pack. Okay, the lands are not guaranteed. They're pretty random. They're pretty random. Well, blue-white land would be pretty sweet, as would a green-black land, so these would be great. The best non-land card for us here is Shalai's Acolyte. 5 mana for a 3/4 flyer, or 7 mana for a 5/6 flyer. It's like a little on the slower end, but it's pretty big. I just want to take lands. I just want to slam dunk lands all the time. I'm going to take this green-black land. It's a big win con, but it's just like, I don't know, it's just a 1/1 creature. You drop it, opponent drops 1 removal spell. When it doesn't get killed, though, it is going to win the game pretty much every time. I don't know. Bite Down seems pretty good. Contaminated Aquifer seems pretty good. We're like green, blue, white, black right now. Got Bite Down. Mana Worker helps hit off color kicker effects. This Aquifer doesn't have any of our main colors. It doesn't have green or white in it, so I think I take it a little lower than I took the last land and maybe go for Bite Down here. Don't love the Sky Knight because it's only really good when you're on the offensive, so it does fall into that trap where it's just a super bad card when you're having to block. Pagomos is a cool card to try to splash, but it seems much more aggressive than what we're kind of going for. I'm gonna bite down. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm trying my best. Alright, Bortuck Bone Rattle. We're already splashing in black. This is like really good in Domain, right? Return that card to the battlefield if its mana value is less than or equal to the number of basic land types among lands you control. That is very good in Domain. 6 mana 4/4 brings someone from grave to the battlefield potentially. Even if you don't bring it to battlefield, you're putting it back in hand, which is still good. Like Bortuck a lot. To rattle some bones. Beachfront is actually better in our deck than Adarkar Wastes. This is the one thing I'm a little awkward about in this format, is the fact that the rare lands don't trigger Domain, so they're usually just worse than the common lands. That's a bit of an awkward choice of the lands they wanted to reprint here. But I get that they're iconic. They're tied to Dominaria. But yeah, I'm just gonna go like Beachfront. Oh yeah, the art's pretty similar too. It's true. Nami made that mistake earlier? Oh no. I could try to splash this thing. What is it? It's a Merfolk Looter. Draw a card, discard a card. You can sacrifice it to return an instant or sorcery. Oh, to give an instant or sorcery in your grave flashback? That's interesting. What is this? Put a land from the top 5 into your hand and the rest on the bottom. If you did not hit a land, you just draw a card. This is literally just a worse version of the wall that grabs a land. It's the same mana cost, but you don't get a 0/2, and you dig one less card. I guess you don't get to miss with that one. This seems bad. 2 mana 2/1 that's just gonna make sure removal hits it as well. That's very funny, but not super good. Scout the Wilderness seems good, but Sunbathing Root Walla also could be pretty big in this deck, and I want to make sure I have some creatures against potentially more aggressive strategies. I think we go Sunbathing Root Walla. Get some creatures, some duders. Ooh, nice late Prayer of Binding here. That's a good enough removal spell. I'm going to take it over a green-blue land, sadly. 4 mana instant speed, exile something and gain 2. Card is just sick. Taking it over Tangled Islet. Sorry, Tangled Islet. If worst case scenario when push comes to shove here, we can just cut everything and just be Selesnya. If we don't get enough removal, but I think, or enough duels, but I think we'll be okay. Hydromancer's cool. Very, very slow, but it's cool. Probably Cavalier, though. I'm going to take the slow, cool card, whatever. We wield the Shalai's Acolyte. Alright, come on in the deck. Big old win con. Big slow flyer. Close out a game with that thing. Vine Wall, again, that'd be fine. Mana Worker would be fine. If our mana's good enough, though, we get to cut that. We probably actually like Artillery Blast in here, because this is good whenever you're not on the aggressive. Which probably doesn't happen a massively high amount of the time. This only works with Planeswalkers, so it's unplayable and limited. Captain's Call is just 4 mana for 3 1/1s. Tablet? Is this a tablet deck? Probably not. But I don't think it's a Captain's Call deck. I'm going to open some kind of green-white rare that gives my whole board +1/+1, now that I didn't take Captain's Call. I think that card is playable in this format, but probably not in this deck. Phasing of Zhalfir. Turn all creatures into 2/2 Phyrexians. You can phase out a couple cards, which is cool. And then do it? This seems probably bad. A lot of games in Limited end up in board states of like a couple 1/1s, a 3/3, and a 4/4 or something, and just turning that all into 2/2s still kind of feels like it leaves things even. Territorial Morrow's cool, but it just gets chump blocked really easily. Shalai's Acolyte might wheel again. I might try Niall. This also doesn't seem great, but if you have all 5 land types, you can draw a card every time this hits somebody, which is cool. A very slow build your own Thieving Magpie kind of thing. Couple great lands here. I think Contaminated Aquifer is better in this deck. We don't have one of those yet either. Scout the Wilderness, we can probably wheel. We've been wheeling these all the time. I haven't taken any of them yet, though. I think I should take one for this deck at some point. I think with looking at this pack, we probably take Aquifer and Wheel Scouts as the plan. I could try the Slimefoot's Survey, but again, that's super, super slow. Another Weather Seed Treaty. Let's go. Let's go. Well, now I don't even want that other... I don't want that other basic land thing. Slimefoot should wheel, but I'm still not going to take it over almost anything else in that pack. I just think it's too slow. Try this Weather Seed thing again. I think it's better than Scout, because you can play it on 3 and still get the 1/1 out of it. The third ability on this really doesn't matter, but the first 2 are good. Actually, Elfhame Worm. I don't have a lot of finishers right now. I'm going to need an Elfhame Worm kind of finisher later on. Radiant Grove, though. Oh no, Radiant Grove is like the perfect. You know what? Taking Radiant Grove. Like the best land for our deck. This is all nonsense. This can splash legendaries in. It helps cast Nayel, Techyova, and Vohar. Don't think I like that, though. I think Deathbloom Gardener is probably better. Just a bunch of black cards. Otherwise, I'm just going to take Deathbloom Gardener. I don't love Deathbloom Gardener either. The Death Touch is cool, so that when you're done ramping your stuff out, it can trade into 4/4s and 5/5s and stuff. But it's just pretty sad when you look at this card after we just had Underseller Mycon in the last set, which was such a good 3-mana dork. Because you don't really want to block with the mana dork itself, but if it produces a chump blocker, then you're really happy. Temporary Lockdown, pretty good against aggro. Maybe I'll try it out here. Oh, Joda's Codex, though. This card takes over the game. Really slow card, a 5-mana initial investment, but then just 2-mana tap, draw a card for the rest of the game every turn. Whatever. When in Rome. These are the free draft. It's the early access event. I can burn all of these gems doing some dumb things. I'll be fine. Banalish Sleeper is actually solid if we get a Saproling or a Soldier token on the board. We can kick it. Kind of same with Aaron here. Solid ability off a splash. I might try Aaron. Aaron. Alright, another finisher, the Elfhame Worm. Still feel like I don't have a lot of finisher creatures. But I'm planning on wheeling another Acolyte here, so maybe Juniper Order's better. So I don't have a lot of early game creatures either. I've got a lot of late game removal. I'm going to take another early game creature, but I do like Elfhame Worm. Turg, the Durgberg or whatever that thing was called. That thing's double black, so it's a pretty hard splash. One of these lands or Resolute Reinforcements? Reinforcements feels pretty good. 2-mana, 2/1/1s. It's definitely good with Aaron. I feel like I'm doing pretty well on the duels. I don't think I need another just off-color one. Sorry, Phasing of Zalfir. I don't think anybody's going to want to play this card. It's just too risky. Most games it just doesn't really change much of what's going on. I don't think we wield the Shalai's Acolyte, sadly, that I thought we would. We did wheel a Scout the Wilderness, and I'll take that over Geothermal Bog. And we'll play that. Geothermal Bog is weird in this deck, but it's way more likely to get played than the black creatures. This just scries, it doesn't put it in your hand. I'll just take a Destroy Evil. I really don't like that that doesn't put it in your hand. I guess it would be absolutely absurd if it did. They need to make it cost a lot more. Why is Bortuck in the sideboard? Get back in here. I guess Arena went weird. Oh, Arena made the Bortuck a Cavalier. Did that thing. I need to cut 10 cards out of this deck. I have no idea how to do that. This is a deck. We're definitely keeping Terra Sunder, Prayer of Binding. Yeah, that's what's so bad about the Slimefoot card. It's five mana to get 2 lands into play tapped, and then put a card on top of your library. So you don't even draw a card off of it. You don't make any blockers, so you're spending 5 mana to not affect the board at all. I feel like it's too slow for the ramp. 3 mana is already asking a decent amount. Tapping out on turn 3 and not putting a creature on board. That's why I like Weather Seed Treat. It doesn't immediately put a creature on board, but at least it gives you one next turn. And then Scout the Wilderness, I like doing that on 5. Instead of getting 2 lands, you can get 1. You get 1 land, get 2 1/1s. I know it helps for domain things like Nail, but by the time we have 5 mana, like, we've already got most of our mana, and domain things is like, I don't know, these cards are already getting us value even if we're not pulling out specific duels. I just feel like it's better to just have 5-drops like Acolyte and Baloth and stuff. They're just big and immediately impact the board. Definitely stuff like Bone Rattle up here. Like, that's 100% what they designed the card to do. They designed it for this kind of deck, but it just feels phenomenally slow. And by the time you're casting that kind of thing, you already have plenty high-impact plays that aren't just about, like, making your other cards better. They just single-handedly impact the game. Hydromancer is another late game thing. Actually did get a weird like token theme. It seems like the white cards in this format almost always just spit out a ton of tokens and have some kind of token theme if you're playing white in any variety, because we've got like Cavalier and Reinforcements. We've got Aaron and some stuff like that. Phalanx. I think our removal's enough to cut Destroy Evil. Maybe even Artillery Blast. Yeah, we'll cut those. Don't love the drawbridges, having to tap a bunch of extra mana. 3 mana to use this is a lot. I think I cut all that. And then just 2 more cards to cut, a couple 2-drops here. Maybe not a big enough token theme to want Banalish Sleeper. Bohar's really weird. We don't even have that many instants. And sorceries, we have 3 in the whole deck. Yeah, it's just a hard to cast Merfolk Looter mostly. This is an awkward deck. This is a super weird one. I have no idea what I'm doing here. Do we want to play 18 lands in here? I could cut one of these Death Blooms for another land or something. Tachiova kind of makes me feel like 18 lands could be ideal. She wants us to have 7 lands out for her to start going crazy. Got a few ways to pull lands out of the deck. Maybe we cut one of these Juniper Order Root Weavers. I like a 1 of Reinforcements because there are like 1/1 cards in the aggro decks. Any thoughts on Snare Spinner? See people give it low ratings. It's a 2 mana 1/3 that trades for most of White's flyers. I don't think White actually has that many flyers. I think Blue's the like scarier flyer one. It does block the Argivian Cavaliers pretty well, the 2/1 flyer in White. I don't know, it's probably fine. Because it is good against one of the most common flyers, which is the 3 mana 2/1 flyer in White, which can just block that all day. It's really bad against Blue's flyers, though. I mean, it's good against the 3 mana 2/3 flyer in Blue, but the really good Blue flyer, the 4 mana 3/2 flyer, like it just draws a card when it dies. So trading into that thing never feels good. No, it feels a bit narrow. It's good against all the 1/1 tokens and stuff, too. I think it'll probably overperform if everybody's just giving it massively low ratings, but I don't think it's, like, gonna be sweet. But I think it's a card you're not that unhappy to put in the deck for matchups against White. Because it's really good. It's really good against the 1/1s on the ground. It's good against the 2/1s. It is only 2 mana, but 2-drops nowadays are insane. 2-drops nowadays, my opponent plays a 3/1 and then I drop this thing, kill their 3/1 and leave a 1/1 behind. Like my opponent plays their 2 mana 3/1 rare that when it attacks stops a creature with power less than it's from blocking, and then I just go, okay, you've stopped a creature from blocking, now I'll play this. After you've already used that ability, I'll kill that and leave behind a 1/1. Or my true drop is a 2-mana 2/2 that trades into 2/2s or 3/2s or something, or later in the game I kick it, put a counter on whatever my best creature is. I don't know, I think there's a lot of cards that are just kind of nuts at 2-mana. Sunbathing Rootwalla has a really good mana sink ability. You can use it at instant speed, but just once per turn. There aren't many incredible 2-drops in this format, though, which I think is probably a plus side. Not as many as like recent formats. Yeah, Snare Spinner's definitely not a bad card. I'm gonna play it probably a lot. But it is filler. I want to put another land in here, and I'm still not knowing what I want to do to put that in. I'll probably just take a Root Weaver out and hope I'm not against super aggro. Okay, time to figure out how the mana is working here. We've got 12 green cards and 9 white cards, which is nuts. And then we're just kind of splashing everything else. I just want to visualize it here. This is going to be difficult to do the math on. It's definitely more green than anything else. Green is super important. Green has double Gardener and everything we have that pulls a land out of the deck. We need to pay attention to our kicker cards, though. I don't need green mana to cast these Root Weavers. They're 2-mana 2/2s, that's fine. Don't need the green mana for Acolyte, because sometimes I'll have to cast it before I have the green. And even so, a 7-mana needing green mana is fine. I'm already putting more green than anything else, so these don't really affect my land count. But there's one of these green kickers I really need. Yeah, I need black mana to cast Terra Sunder the vast majority of the time. Scout, I don't need white mana, but it is helpful. Kind of need the blue mana for Hydromancer. And even then, it's probably not great. It's just cool. It's just fun. So a 3-mana 3/2 that if you have the mana, it comes with a clone, a 4-mana clone. This doesn't feel great. Pretty high impact though, but it is a lot of mana. Okay, so this is what the colors look like. Now I gotta look at all these duels going on. That's a green source, that's a white source. That's both. It's a green source, these are white sources. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8 green sources right now. 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 white sources, 8 green, 7 white. Black, we have 4 black sources right now. Do I need that? I think I do, because I need 1 swamp for the Weatherseed Treaty and Scout the Wilderness. And I need 1 island for those cards as well. This is probably as good as it gets. Maybe we cut Aquifer. Or actually, maybe we cut Geothermal Bog. Or Aquifer. Probably Geothermal Bog first, because Bog is kind of just for domain. It is a black source for our very few black cards, or like 3 black cards in the deck. But we don't need red for anything except domain. And I already have 2 Sacred Peaks, which is an on color. It's a plains that is also the red for domain. I think Geothermal Bog is the worst land in the deck if I need to make room for another green or white source, but 8/7 is probably not horrible. But I might want to go 9/7 here, cut a bog for a forest. think I'm going to. I don't know if that's right, but I'm going to cut a bog for a forest, get to 9 green sources in this deck, just really make sure I always hit that. So I have that color for pulling out the other colors. Let's put on some fancy lands here. Get to some gameplay so we can see what cool stuff our opponents have come up with. Here we go. Pretty good mana here. Between our main colors, Joda's Codex is going to be pretty cheap to draw cards if we can get it on the board later. I think I play Grove first. I think it's more important to get my important colors out first than it is to get my domain up first. Almost all my domain cards are for like later in the game. I don't care about having the domain stuff immediately. I think I'm just going to hold off on the Root Weaver for now. Not really try to aggro out. I mean, I guess I could. I think I'd rather just turn 3 the Deathbloom Gardener. It's a very nice board. Very, very chill. Alas Eelcore, Sadistic Pilgrim. When another creature enters the battlefield under their control, they gain a life. When another creature they control dies, we lose a life. Okay. Just drop the Deathbloom Gardener. That would have been an okay trade. Maybe we could have just taken that trade here. I got the 5 mana to drop Codex, but I'm getting hit a little bit here, so I think I keep playing blockers right now. Here's a big old 2/4 flyer. When it hits a player, look at the top 3 cards in my library, put them back in any order. Yeah, 1 back on top and the rest on bottom. Alright, Alas Eelcore is just going to keep getting in. This is a combat trick, black-white. No idea what the black-white combat tricks are in the set, but let's just use today to learn what they are by making my opponent use them. Show me the trick. I would like to know what it is. Oh, that's fine. My nail will survive that. Yeah, they're probably trying to get the free damage in there of threatening a better trick than that, but then the backup plan is, oh, I can just save it. 6 mana. I don't have the mana to use Codex after I drop it. I could hold up Prayer of Binding, get rid of Alas Eelcore, and then they don't have attacks. I could also just play a 2/2 to trade with that. I'm gonna do that. Set up my draw here. Ooh, Techiova. Techiova is mildly risky, because if my Deathbloom thing dies now, I don't have Techiova mana, but I still like her here for later. We need more lands, though. Kind of just setting up for the future. Hoping they don't have a bunch of tricks. Aw, Runic Shot, destroy a tapped creature. 1 mana, destroy a tapped creature, such a deal. That effect has gotten so much better now. I think the Death Touch is going to be more annoying. Let's go for the trade there. Tiger Claws, thank you very much for the resub. Subscribe for 5 months. Thank you very much, Tiger Claws. Sheoldred's Restoration, bring it right back out. Well, alright then. Chova does not help me with this current board state. just on Prayer of Binding for one of these? I'm getting hit for 5 each turn. I might have to just prayer the Elaz Ilkor and block the Herbalist. Oh, jeez. I don't know. I guess I can trade Hydromancer at this point. Rather than trying to get kicker value. Still try to take over the long game with Techyova or Joda's Codex. Snap trade. 2 lands away from Techyova popping off. Another Samite Herbalist for our opponents. And Captain's Call, gain a bunch of life. Bite Down is pretty good. It's an instant as well. You can hold up Bite Down and Prayer of Binding. Get rid of 2 things. Then we drop Codex next turn. Is it a trick here, or am I just taking 3? I can just take 3, and if it's a trick, I can Bite Down. I got Prayer Binding Elas to stop the 1 more damage here. Because I have Bite Down with a Death Toucher to kill whatever they play next. So I can still kill something really big. Okay, ooh! It's a blue source! So Codex is even cheaper to activate. Now it's 1 mana. I guess I'm not holding a Bite Down here, but probably fine. Now we just Joda's Codex to victory. Draw 2 cards every turn instead of 1 per turn. Our opponent is just top decking. We're top decking +1. 1 mana draw card is juicy. Alright, we're taking 2. Down to 9. Draw the card. Every land we play is going to be a 3/3 now as well. That would be pretty sick. A Weatherseed Treaty. We want to start on Chapter 1. We want to pull out the land. Pull out a swamp here. Have all 5, and then the the Joda's Codex is cheap. It's free, actually, not even cheap. This doesn't untap, does it? Okay. Yeah, Techyova does not untap, so what's the least important land now? We've got more green and white sources than anything, so Radiant Grove. Yeah. Techyova time. Free Codex. Oh, this is sick. And just start poking them in the sky until we can kill them. Yeah, I think my draft pod was probably a bit of a fluke for how late the dual lands were going. I think they are probably quite a bit higher picks than they were getting picked up there, because they're not just for the domain strategies as well. They can help you hit a random off-color kicker just to make your main deck cards slightly better. Like sometimes you just run a 2-mana 2/2 off of just like 2 random green duels. Yeah. This is what I was hoping. I was hoping it would be similar to Call Time with the Snowlands, where you could build a sick deck if you just take those really highly and just go for it. I don't need Gardener anymore because my mana is just incredible now, so we're just going to keep all our removal spells to be safe. I guess Bite Down gets significantly worse without a Death Toucher, but I'm still just going to go for it. Alright, then we will Bite Down. ruin the combat trick and just keep the gardener instead. Aaron. That's pretty good when we're going wide with the Sapperling. Let's get our free card draw. Linebreaker Baloth. Well, I only have 2 1/1s now. Didn't hit a land here, which is a little sad, but we're still in a really good spot. 7? Sure. We'll kick that. Hey Yoshimitsu, how's it going? We are having a fun time with this domain deck. We're just going wild. Let's get more blockers and another flyer. I shouldn't have let Auto Tapper do it because I didn't want to make my 1 blue source have to be a creature here. Yeah, opponent may have run out of gas here. Oh my god, that was almost lethal. Good lord. Tachova is awesome once you get the mana. Really late game card though, you can't really treat her like a 3-drop because you gotta wait till you have 7 permanents. Also, Joda's Codex was hilarious. I'm pretty happy with the Codex here. 0 mana, draw a card every turn. But when you think about that, that's even not the craziest payoff ever, because imagine a 5 mana artifact that you set at the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card. It's still a pretty specific kind of deck that wants that card, because it's a lot of mana. An uncommon 7 mana bomb that gets down on turn 3. I still wouldn't run her out on turn 3 that often, because then she just dies and is not a bomb anymore. But she still draws removal, which is what your bombs generally do. Yeah, I guess you can run her out on turn 3. Is it wise to build 3 or 4 color decks in Dominaria United Draft or Sealed? In Sealed, it's going to depend on your mana base, but I think more often than not in Sealed, because it's going to be slower. I'm very, very early in the draft format, so I'm not 100% sure on how the draft format is going to play out, but it does seem like 4 or 5 color decks are definitely a thing if the lands are very open in your draft pod. And I think most decks are probably 2 colors splashing at least a third. Just on Deathbloom here. Playing against blue-red. Ooh, we made it to Scout the Wilderness. That's pretty spicy. We're definitely pulling out of planes here. Please don't counterspell me. I will cry. We're doing 5-color good stuff again. Aaron's gonna be nice here. We just got 2 1/1s. Start buffing our whole board later. I do need another white source though, but I can use Gardener until they kill that. They killed it. Can no longer use Gardener. Juniper Order Root Weaver. I can only play 1 card here because I only have 1 white source. I don't think it's Prayer of Binding right now. It's probably Cavalier and just go wide. One ones everywhere. Alright. You can use a trick to kill my Cavalier, that's pretty fine by me. Furious Bellow. The Tide Turner's yelling at me, it's just screaming at my face as they scry. We got 3 cards in hand. There's our second white for Aaron. Still not on Prayer Binding or Terra Sunder, so let's just kick a Root Weaver. I guess we have 2 2/2s now. Again, I'm just going to keep blocking their 1/3 with my 2/2s. I don't feel like making this a 3/3 is that much better because then they just Lightning Strike it. Yeah. As such. So now we got extra value. Otherwise they would have Lightning Strike the Root Weaver. Okay. Just the Pixie Illusionist coming in the sky. Okay, now we can use our double white to just drop Aaron on the board. Or I can hold up my removal. Or I can drop another Juniper Order Root Weaver to make the other one a 3/3. I feel like I just play Aaron here. Although, they've got 3 cards in hand here and they're still not doing stuff, so it makes me feel like it's just like a stack of removal. So let's just get them to use removal on this Root Weaver instead of Aaron. It's another Bellow. There's another Bellow. It's another one down. Scry to the top again. What is this terrifying avatar? This is Braids. This is the Phyrexian Braids. I think she's Phyrexian now. I still haven't double checked. No attack with the flyer this time. I don't know why. Alright, I'll just try to play Aaron and pass. And we have 2 removal spells in the future. Aaron? Alright, Aaron resolves. She's just a nightmare, is the creature type. That's a good creature type. Djinn of the Fountain. Alright, we found what we're going to remove. I think I'd rather Prayer of Binding. I don't expect blue-red to have any way to get this off the board anyway. And then I still have Terra Sunder for the next thing. I guess it really doesn't matter. They're both instant speed. They both exile anything. Yeah, it's entirely whatever. I could use Aaron to sacrifice a 1/1 to make this a 2/2, a 3/3, and a 4/4 menace. Or I could just hit them with Aaron and hold up Terra Sunder for now. Whenever I use Aaron, I can't hold up Terra Sunder. Maybe what I do is I attack with Root Weaver. If they block, then I just Aaron right now. If they don't block, I get 2 damage in, and then I can hold up Terra Sunder throughout their turn. And if I don't need to immediately use it, then I can just Aaron during their end step. Okay, so we'll just Aaron right now then. Hey Sammy, you did not miss any drafts. Oh, this thing adds blue, not colorless? Oh, dang, these things usually add colorless. Oop. Oh, that's pretty good. That's not actually a blowout, though. Unless they play a creature I want to Terra Sunder here. Because then I was still going to do that in the end step anyway, I just don't get to do my 2 damage. Yeah, this is the first draft of the stream. Oh, Root Waller's sick here. 4 mana to get +5/+5 till end of turn. This is a 7/7. I love the symbol for domain. Oh, you can't see it. It's on the corner of Root Walla. You can't see it when it's zoomed in. Yeah, I love that symbol. If 3 power on their board, I can attack with Aaron. I can attack with kind of everybody. I guess they can double block and kill Soldier. If they do something wild, I'll just tear asunder. Whoa, what is this? I don't know, I'm just gonna play Root Waller and cross my fingers. Hope not to die. This is my 7/7 sunbathing Root Walla. The thickest lizard. Get in there, everybody. Give Aaron +2/-2. Okay. 6/2 Aaron coming in. Can tear asunder to keep Aaron on the board, but currently I just kill my opponent if I activate this thing. So we can see what their last card in hand is here, and if it doesn't matter, then they're just dead. And I guess they are just dead. 2-0 for the domain pile. Let's go. The pile of dual lands is working out. No touchy over that game, which is sad. Yeah, the Root Walla seems sick. Even if you're not 5-color domain, even just like 4 mana for +3/+3, if you're just a 2-color deck splashing in a third, seems pretty powerful. Treat that thing as a 5/5 in the late game. I will go first with a Radiant Grove turn 1. I do need to hit a land to get to Gardener, but then I can cast pretty much everything. Kind of a bold keep. We're an 18-land deck here. We are the kind of deck that really wants to draw more lands, which is why this is pretty bold. If I were aggro, this would be fine. But I'm not. I'm being risky. Come on, one land. One land. Oh, snap. Reinforcements is so good against that card that I'm not going to play it right now. This is the rare I was talking about. Whenever it attacks, target creature with power less than its power can't block this turn. So it just shuts off a blocker every turn. A 2-mana 3-1 that shuts off a blocker every time it attacks is just absurd. So we're going to kill it by surprising them with reinforcements here. Unless they have the 2-mana first strike trick, then they'll win the fight even if I double block, so I'm just going to block with this single creature. If they do have the first strike trick, it makes them spend their whole turn saving the Firebrand. This is a-okay. They had to spend a card to kill our 1/1 token and spend their turn without putting another creature on the board. And now I don't know what I do. I probably have to just play Gardener and let the Firebrand get in if they attack with it, because they make the reinforcements unable to block. And then I kind of need my mana, so I can't really trade Gardener into Firebrand. But maybe they don't want to do that. Alright. They value their Firebrand more than I value my Gardener. Now I have Tear Asunder mana. I'm going to have a Bone Rattle later this game that's going to be absolutely incredible. Pretty happy with that. I've got Prayer of Binding mana. I've got The World is My Oyster here. I think I just play... I could play Niall here, because Bone Rattle's going to pick up anything from Grave later. I almost feel like I just play defensively with Prayer and Tear Asunder. We'll just drop a 2/4 and see what they're doing. I want to do things. I'm too impatient to play correctly. whenever it becomes tapped... Oh my god, I was gonna say, if this was whenever it becomes tapped, this card would be, like, unbeatable. It's whenever it attacks, so they can't stop a blocker when they enlist, at least. But it does enlist to make the Steel Crusher a 5/2. I could just trade with Niall, actually, because I've got Bone Rattle. Or I can just take 5. Just take 5. I'm fine. I'll be completely okay. Nothing could go wrong. Astor, Bear of Blades. If they have any equipment or vehicles, that card's nuts, otherwise it's just a 4/4. I can scout the Wilderness here, get a couple 1/1s. The 1/1s get to double block the Steel Crusher well. Unfortunately, I have to tap my Death Toucher to do this, which isn't great, but I think I do. Seen some other drafters go lots of colors, do some splashy things. It's going to be something common in this format? Almost definitely. It's going to be an aspect of the format. That doesn't mean it's going to be every deck in the format, but it is going to be something you can do reasonably effectively at times. 3, 4, 5. It's like it's one of the archetypes. It's not what every deck is doing, is how I would put it. But every deck does seem to be at least like splashing third colors going on. But yeah, the super deck, the super splashy deck that the deck is completely designed around just splashing a bunch of stuff, that's just like the domain archetype. But no, I think most decks are going to be kind of like Capenna decks, where it's 2 main colors splashing a third off of your duels. So there's going to be a lot of splashing going on. Most decks are going to be splashing a card or 2, but they're not going to be all about just doing splashy big stuff in every color. Alright. Kill Steel Crusher. Go for a chump here to be fine. Just gonna keep taking damage. And now I'm gonna hold up all the removal in the world. Just keep hitting with Niall and holding up removal. Charismatic Vanguard, that is a stressful ability. So Bone Rattle has 4 card types, so if Niall dies, I can bring her back for free. I can do the same with Gardener, but I'd need to hit another land here. I'm really kind of digging for a red source with Niall. That would be the ideal. Bite Down's fine, though. I think I need more cheap removal more than anything else here. I'm going to use Prayer of Binding this turn, gain some life, and kill one of these attackers. They might attack with Firebrand this turn. Oh, that's not ideal for us. I can tear asunder that for only 2 mana, though. It's pretty interesting. I think what I do here is I go white, 1, 2, 3. I exile the Firebrand, because that's going to be a bit of an issue, stopping a blocker every turn. And then when they go to combat, I'm going to exile that out of nowhere with Tear Asunder. I'm not going to have the mana for Bone Rattle till I hit 1 more land, but that's the only thing I need this Death Bloom for, so I am going to take the trade. Now I have a Bite Down to kill Vanguard, and then the whole board is dealt with. Yep. Look for a red source or just any land with Niall. None of these are lands. But up to one on top. Oh, and just submit 0. Okay. That's pretty cool. I didn't know she could do that. Just playing our boring little 3-mana 3/2. Offer the trade there, and if that doesn't work, we can bite down. Steel Crusher, okay. I would really like to bite that down. That card was an impressive attacker with the enlist ability earlier. It's not enjoyable. I'm just going to bite down in the end step here, I think. Okay, Gardener gets us to Bone Rattle. I could see what I'm hitting off Niall again. There's a red source and another land, or another removal spell, or an untapped land. Kind of feel like I pick up removal, play Gardener, make sure Gardener's still around. This is 5 mana to use, right? Yeah, and I can just block that with Hydromancer. Yeah, I have good blocks on board. So I can still Bone Rattle next turn off this Gardener, and now I have Leyline Binding as removal for later. Oh, it's 2 mana removal on this board? Jesus. So we're just picking up another Deathbloom Gardener if I cast Bone Rattle right now, but that's not horrible. Spend 2 mana to get rid of their Griffin Protector, that's fine. Yeah, sure. We are on the flying game plan with Niall. I've actually been pretty impressed by Niall. I thought this card was going to be pretty bad if I wasn't just always drawing cards off of it, but you're digging deep even if you're not drawing a card. You're like really setting things up. I like Weather Seed Treaty a lot here. It's not going to get cast immediately. Oh wait, I don't have a mountain in my deck. Yeah, no, Weather Seed's actually not very good. That was the wrong choice. Should take one of the other cards. I forgot I'm not running a mountain, so Weather Seed can't get me the 5th land type. Coalition Warbrute, that's spooky. The trample is a pretty big deal. Let's just Bone Rattle and get the biggest blocker we can out right now. And pick up the Gardener. Still keep hitting with Niall, that's our win con. No mountain. Just gonna submit 0 and keep drawing blind. Rattle some bones with the Deathbloom Gardener. We're gonna block the Warbrute with our Bone Rattle to stop 4 damage and kill it. Okay, they're not going to attack with. There's the mountain! Now we're just drawing a card every turn. Let's go. Niall to victory. I can even kick this Acolyte off of double Gardener. Oh, okay, well. The moment I got the mountain, Niall is no longer... No longer around. No longer with us. I can kill them with Weather Seed Treaty next turn. I can read ahead to +5/+5 trample. Just skip the lands. Because read ahead is how all the sagas work now, where you play them on whatever mode you want. So if they tap out without playing another removal spell here, we could just go for Flyer to victory. Techova's tempting. Because now I can Techova. This way I'm playing around instant speed removal. Because if I read ahead and they have instant speed removal, that's getting rid of my main plan to win this game. So let's just put an alternate route to victory out. And do it the slow way here. Just getting a bunch more flyers, so I'm not all in on that one basket. Alright, it looks like we probably would have just killed him if I read ahead here. But I didn't want to risk it. With 5 mana up, in a deck that's blue, white, and red, this feels super on lock now. Runic Shot. Alright, well, we've just got the Forest as a flyer. They have 6 blockers. Ooh, Juniper Order Root Weaver. +1/+1. Boop. That'll do it. Thank you for the follow, Ordinary Beans. We are now 3-0 with the Domain deck. Kind of want to just draft Domain all day now. Now that I know it can work out. It's worked out so far. We're getting at least an average run out of this one. I'm gonna be like the kid in the toy shop if Domain is as viable as Snow was in Call Time. I'm just gonna draft Domain every draft, every time. Not gonna be the most enjoyable videos for you all on YouTube, but I'm gonna have an absolute blast just drafting 5 color every draft. 5 color Domain. It does feel really, really similar to the Snow decks in Call Time, because like they are, once again, they're like really focused on a certain color. Like it still feels like green is like the core color to these decks. So it's more like green splash every color than it is straight up 5 color. But that's just kind of how Magic works in general. It's really, really hard to do a deck that's like, I run 2 islands, 2 swamps, 2 plains, 2 mountains, and 2 forests. Like, that's just not a thing. Or I guess 3 of each. Alright, we've got a turn 3 Gardener. This is a pretty slow hand. We are a pretty slow deck. I love how you play the Sacred Peaks and you see the red and the white light up on your Domain cards. That's so cool. Immediately, Leyline Binding is a 3 mana card. It's just an instant speed Oblivion Ring now. Or an instant speed Banishing Light. Ooh, turn 2 Phyrexian Missionary. This card is great. A 2 mana 2/3 lifelink is sick in any deck, and if you are splashing black or playing black as a core color, this card's absurd. It's an infinitely better Gravedigger. I think I'm going to play the Deathbloom Gardener here. Try to ramp into some of my stuff. You can see the argument for Hydromancer just to get their lifelinker off the board immediately. We're not the kind of deck that's racing our opponent. We're the kind of deck that's going to try to completely overwhelm our opponent in the late game. Play my own 4/4 this turn. Blocks Missionary all day. Could play the Codex. That's tapping out to not affect the board though, so it's probably bad. 5 mana this turn means I'll have 6 mana next turn, so next turn I could play Hydromancer as a 3/2 blocker and play Leyline Binding still. So I kind of think I want to just play like a Phalanx here. Next turn we removal spell and 3/2. Alright, well, I'm getting tricked. +2/+2 to 2 creatures. That requires 3 of their 5 mana. Stop more damage blocking Sentry, if that is the trick. They don't have to play a trick, though, if we block Sentry, because then it's just a fine trade. Could be +1/+1 counter on the whole board, and +2/+2 to the other one. If it's that trick, it's better to block Missionary, because then they have to +2/+2 the blocked creature instead of the unblocked one, but then I'm going to take 5 damage total if I block like this, and 5 damage total if I block sentry. So either way, that trick, I take the same amount of damage. I guess it doesn't really matter. Both of the tricks I can think of just get us either way. Just as hard. And if I don't take this block here and make them play the trick, then I'm just letting them play another creature on the board that is going to benefit from their trick on their next attack, which means we're just going to get demolished next turn. Just thrown into the garbage bin. This is very unfortunate, because now that's permanently a 3/4. So a 3/2 doesn't even block well anyway. So we're just not blocking. I guess we go for Death Touch here at this point. I probably should have played Techova, because I'm not going to be able to cast her next turn because I won't have blue mana anymore. Yeah, Techova isn't doing anything yet. But I should have played her now just because I... Oh wait, no, if I played her now, Gardener's tapped, so that's not even a viable plan. Yeah, no, this is just bad. It's just bad news. I think I wait one more turn before I'm trading Gardener off, because I really don't have plays next turn. Let's just Binding the Sentry. Yeah, without blue mana, I've got nothing here. Queen, all in all, if they play any token producers, they're going to add an additional token every time. Ooh, Scout the Wilderness. Gets us the blue source, gets us some 1/1s to block that queen. Now I can actually chump with Gardener. Yeah, pull out an island here. Wait, yeah. Okay. If I can stabilize, my hand has cards that can take over the game. Joda's Codex and Techova. Sorry, Deathbloom Gardener. I've got my blue source now, so you can leave. That's very strong. Bone Rattle the Missionary back to the board. Well, I drew another Gardener. So there's that. Play Techova whatever turn I play my 7th land. I guess I could cast her and Deathbloom Gardener this turn, so we might as well do that. Vivian Cavalier, a 2/2 with Enlist and 2 1/1s thanks to Queen. All in all, of Rodak. Well, that's pretty good. It's a pretty big Queen. Throw Vortuk at us. Trade. Need the Death Toucher for the Queen now. That's why I didn't just trade the Death Toucher for the Boar. Oh, removal for Techova. Sad day, and there's the 7th land now. Play 2/4 flying blocker here. 4, 5, 6. I can play Codex and draw 1 card here. But then I block the queen, chump the cavalier, take 4. Feel like I'm needing to play more blockers. I think this queen's just doing too much work here. Got a lot of stuff left. They also got a lot of 2-for-1s. The early lead with that strength of the coalition was pretty brutal. Bog Badger kicked for Menace this turn. I think that's lethal. Not lethal, but I think that's gonna end us. Demolish our soul. Guess I take 6 here and kill the queen. Be a queen slayer. Yep, this is by far our best block. Because we can only block one thing this turn, so we have to block the queen anyway. Bortuck. Oh, I don't have a black source. No. If I had a black source, I'm actually still dead if I had a black source, but if I had like black source and land, I could go Bortuck, pick up Techiovo, play land? I don't know. R.I.P. 3-1. Had a slow start there, and we got hit really hard by the green-white trick. Again, I thought the game was going to end a long time ago because of how hard we got hit by their 3/4 lifelinker and 5/5 reach creature after that trick. Alright, we're on the play. We've got Weather Seed on 3. Another slow hand. These are the problems with this deck. There's that angry Brushwag. Uh-oh, we're playing against red. Most aggressive color. But nothing turn 2. Here's Weather Seed Treaty. Pick up a swamp for the Terra Sunder we have in hand. They're going to Thrill of Possibility, discarding a removal spell to draw 2. And a Flowstone Kavu, 2/3 Menace. This thing's got blades for hands, that's terrifying. Can Terra Sunder, I can just drop Juniper, Order, Root Weaver. Can't do a whole lot right now that's that impressive. I drew my green-blue card. I'll just make a 3/3. Weather Seed Treaty gives +3/+3 trample next turn. It's a big one. Flowstone Kavu's coming in for 2. Root Wall is a nice draw. Flowstone Infusion. That's rude. But we got them to use a removal spell on our 1/1. Which I think is just a net positive. But I can still kill this Kavu whenever I want later on, so I think I'm just playing more dorks. Oh my god. 3 Instant Resources and Graves. That is a 4-mana 5/5 Ward 2. That's a very real card. All my removal costs 4 mana, so I need 6 mana to get rid of that. There's my 5th mana. Draw a land next turn, I can deal with that. I can also just trade Root Wall into it, I guess. So we just pass turn, hold our instance up, hold up the ability to buff the Root Wall on blocks. Well, that's a trick. That is a trick. I'll trade a trick for Root Walla here. It's instant speed land destruction. They blow up our planes. That would be horrific. Oh my god, it's that thing! This card is wildly underdrafted right now. I think we saw one like last pick on our draft. But yeah, this thing is the new startle. This thing is absurd. 1 mana for -1/-0, so you just win equal combats and draw a card in the process. That is going to destroy a lot of souls right now. But should hopefully be not as bad once we start learning how to play around that. Definitely early enough in the format, though. I'm going to forget about that all the time and get demolished by this card. No attacks, alright. Sick. Sick. We can bone rattle one of our creatures back. Our Root Walla back, or I can just get rid of this Tolarian Terror now. What the heck does this do? Cast sorceries as though they had flash. When attacks, spend 2. When you cast your next instant or sorcery, you copy it. That's threatening enough to be tempting to just kill that. I guess I could just block it. Yeah, let's hold up the removal that can kill the ward card, and if I just trade with Najal, let them get 1 spell doubled.
Together, we are unstoppable.
Thank you for the follow. Onbeck Limbar? That is nowhere near correct, but thank you for the follow. Alright, we're going to block there, and we're going to shoot the terror through the ward. This is an instant? Oh my god, Najal lets them do instants or sorceries at instant speed. Oh, that is bad. Oh, that is bad. Oh, it's Dutch. Nice. Well, thanks for hopping by and checking out the stream. I'm glad you've been enjoying the YouTube. I'm trying to not die to this spooky stuff. It's Ward 2, right? Yeah, it's Ward 2. We're going to pay the Ward 2, and then we're going to kill Najal with our other removal spell. Yeah, it is really weird this card does not have haste. It looks super hasty. We've done it. We've gotten the full domain. Oh wait, no, we don't have blue. Okay, I've gotten 4 out of 5 domain. I think I'm just exiling the Najal so they can't double spell me again. I'm just gonna do it right now. But then we're gonna bone rattle for a bunch of blockers. Thank you for the follow, MK Mina. Taking 4, we're down to 11. Jinn of the Fountain. I'm out of removal, so I'm probably dead now. Another gigantic flyer. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Only kick it when you cast the spell, so I can't kick something from grave. Yep. Let's just get our ground blockers then. If I pick the big enlist creature, it goes to my hand because I have 4 land types and its mana value is 5, so Need to put something on the board so I can double block Kavu and not die immediately. I'm doing very well. This is my first draft in the Twitch stream. This is my second draft total. We did one early access draft video for YouTube, but I am planning to do as many drafts as I can tonight until I fall asleep, pretty much. So we're going to do a ton of drafts today. The lack of blues hit me really hard now. Yeah, and then we're doing all the daily drafting sealeds on YouTube still, so we're gonna do a ton of them. Ton of drafts. Might as well hit with this thing. Lightning strike the face for lethal. We are 3 and 2. It does seem pretty good. I think blue, red, and white are the powerful like aggro colors. Then black and green are like the grinded out kind of next. We're gonna be against Voxy this game, and hopefully I don't get demolished. This is a sick domain hand. We're just gonna have all land types all day. Voxy is on the play. Let's go Haunted Mire here. Probably Contaminated Aquifer turn 2. Hopefully she's not super aggro. Oh no. Whenever you cast a creature, put a +1/+1 counter on Quirion Beast Caller. When it dies, distribute its counters among any number of creatures. Oh my god. That thing is going to kill me. Play Contaminated Aquifer, so I could turn 3 Atachiova if I play an untapped forest. This card's absolutely busted. Just by playing creatures in limited? Each opponent loses X life. Okay, that one I'm less concerned. I guess she's drafting defenders, which is pretty fun, but I'm just gonna die to this completely nuts card. I guess I can Tachiova. Rather just Weather Seed Treaty, get a chump blocker. Really would like a Death Toucher or something. Or I guess one of my removal spells outside of Bite Down. Double Blight Pile! And then a Snare Spinner. These cards I'm all very okay with. But Beast Caller, pretty unstoppable. Just play Nael and try to draw cards. At this point, we've taken so much damage from Beast Caller that the Blight Piles are just going to kill me quickly. It's 2 damage per Blight Pile activation. This must be the Secret Defender archetype. I mean, the Defender archetype is a thing, but this isn't really a game where I feel like I'm playing against the Defender archetype. I feel like I'm just playing against Beast Caller and dying. There's Prayer of Binding to exile it and gain life. Okay. I've got all 5 land types, so Nael draws a card here. Maybe I'm not dying. They can only Blight Pile once per turn. Yeah, Voxy can only Blight Pile once per turn. Dig for a card out of the top 5, put it in the hand. There's a Tear Asunder for another removal spell. Come on in. Join my hand. We're going to Prayer of Binding. She could be holding up a Tear Asunder of her own, so I think holding up a green is actually nice. So I go Prayer of Binding, then play a forest. Tear Asunder her Tear Asunder, if that's a thing. Uh-oh, she can double blight pile now. She's got double black. Now I feel like I'm playing against the defender pile. Now that we've dealt with the beast caller, we've got to worry about triple blight pile for 3 damage per activation. 3 mana each time. Alright. That's very, very much a thing. Now I get to Tachyova and go off. I do kill her very quickly now. I might want to hold this Plains back so I can hold up Terra Sunder, but I'm going to get greedy. Still bite down here. She can trade Snare Spinner into the Plains, I guess. I still have another Plains, Sacred Peaks, and another one in hand. I think if I'm killing anything, it's going to be one of the Blight Piles to slow them down. Okay, she's going to block that so I don't draw a card. She still takes 3. Waiting to bite down until she activates 1 Blight Pile. So I can respond to the activation to lower it. So just 2 damage. I want to draft this card so bad. This thing is sick. Tattered Apparition. It's a flyer. You can tear it asunder. You can get +1/+1 on blocks. Okay, that's a thing. Phalanx only costs 2 mana now. But I think I'm holding up Terra Sunder. I think I'd tear the Snare Spinner apart. Just immediately. And Voxy can't trade into a flyer when we attack. She's down to 2. I'll draw a card. Grab another land to make another 3/3. Yeah, that is pretty great. It is triple Blight Pile. That's a challenge, challenge completed thing. So I kill her in the sky, so we're just gonna animate a land and kill her with Tachyova. This is some kind of mythic rare. I'm gonna read the card, but I don't wanna prolong Voxy's demise there. But I'm gonna check out that Silverback Elder because that also looks insane. Voxy's deck looks insane. Silverback Elder is a 5 mana 5/7. Whenever you cast a creature, you can destroy an artifact or enchantment. Look at the top 5 cards of your library, put a land from among them onto the battlefield tapped, or gain 4 life. Wow. That's pretty sweet. That is also a completely nuts card. But this Beast Caller thing was absolutely horrifying. This is like S+ tier. That was really, really good stuff from the 4 mana 2/4 that kept digging for stuff. We just really needed to get into the removal there, and then we got to the removal, and then just keep drawing cards, and Tachyova obviously was the big win condition. We're going to be against LVD now. We are 4-2 in round 7 against LVD. I have Weatherseed Treaty and Scout the Wilderness, and I'm on the play here, pulling out a Plains from one. Pull out a Plains from Treaty, then use the Plains to Scout the Wilderness for the Swamp, for the Bone Rattle. This is slow, but if LVD is not aggressive here, this is very powerful. Okay, Legends is on blue-whites. Turn to Sten for instance. So the blue-whites deck can have a lot of stuff that cares about casting a lot of instants and sorceries. One of the big cards that kind of signpost uncommon is Wrath. And Raph is going to let Legend tap 2 creatures whenever he casts an instant or sorcery to make another 1/1. Or no, it's to draw a card, not make another 1/1. So it's white's like going wide with creatures theme mixed with blues like casting a bunch of instants. It's a pretty cool deck. We'll see what Legend's got going on here. Charismatic Vanguard. Oh yeah, the 5-cost flyer is the one that makes 1/1s every time you cast an instant or sorcery. Okay, we're scouting the wilderness for our black source now. Getting a bunch of 1/1s to block with. And having our mana pretty well set up here. We have every important color in our deck, because red is only in the deck for Domain. So we can drop a Niall and all that stuff. So Legend's got tricks here for sure, but we'll see what they are. For 3 mana. +2/+2 to both. Oh, it's the Timely Interference! Oh my god, I need to stop running into that card. Need to triple block that thing. That is my least favorite card in this format, because it feels like you got demolished every time you run into it. And you did. That's okay, we still have a really good spot this game, but wow, I should have just blocked with all 3. This extra damage here does not really matter much. 2 mana Leyline Binding is sick. It's absolutely absurd. It's entirely possible, if not likely, that Legend just has multiple instant speed combat tricks in hand anyway, and just use the one that works best in that scenario. So maybe if I triple blocked, I would have gotten hit by the +2/+2 thing anyway. I don't know. But yeah, if you're blue-white and you're naming instants for Sten, probably have a lot of instants in your deck. Could be a lot of white combat tricks, as well as blue ones. Can also be a lot of counter spells for my Leyline Binding, so I don't love slamming that thing down until Legend taps out a bit. Send in the Vanguard. Vanguard can single-handedly buff itself up to 4 power. Get Nael. I don't think I want to do that. I guess I could Bone Rattle Nail back next turn, even if Nail dies. So Griffin Protector in the sky. Let's just say no to that. 1 mana negate off Sten. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Well, now what? Well, now what? Do I just Joda's Codex and start drawing cards again? I'm at 13 life here. That doesn't feel like the thing. Got nothing to bring back with Bortuck. Terra Sunder's 4 mana, so that's going to take all my mana to do it. Terra Sunder, Protector, and attack though, but then I'm taking all this stuff. Vanguard's a big deal. Maybe I get rid of Vanguard with Terra Sunder? This feels really sad, but I'm just going to get rid of Vanguard with Terra Sunder while Legend is tapped out. And then just be on blocks. Because I'm just trying to get the Bone Rattle value when Legend does kill my Nail. There's Raph, yeah, that's the very good one. And then Argivian Phalanx makes Griffin Protector big enough. I have no other creatures in grave, so I might as well get my Bone Rattle value here. Right, because I'm just going to Bone Rattle next turn no matter what. Yeah, let's just... yeah, Bone Rattle value. May as well. Legend's tapped out here. Unless one of these cards exiles something from my deck. No. Sten comes back in the end step. Okay. Very good to know. If Sten blinks itself immediately, that's really, really good with Griffin Protector. But Sten comes back in the end step. So Legend's out of cards now. Legend is top decking. So we've got a shot if Legend draws poorly. If Legend draws well, we're super dead. Legend draws like an instant here. Legend is drawing a card off of Wrath. Probably getting in with Griffin Protector. We gotta hope Legend draws dead for a turn or two, and then we can just start going off with Joda's Codex. Welcome back, Sudoku. Last game was against Voxy, so it's been a pretty cool couple games for me. I enjoy both of their streams and videos quite a bit. I think they are both fantastic streamers / YouTubers. Oh yeah, Raph can give the whole build, the whole field vigilance. Raph is nuts. Raph is a bad time and a half. 1 mana here. What is this going to be? -1/-1, -1/-0, draw a card. Again? 1 blue mana. I guess I can't block very well regardless, so this could also just be an attack just because I can't block well. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If Legend's last card in hand, if Legend's top deck here is the -1/-0 draw card, I'm so gone. I think we really need to kill Wrath. Alright, that's not bad. We're at 5. Play Codex and draw a card, but then I can't play anything else. A double Deathbloom Gardener. I've got my 1 blocker in the sky. The Deathblooms are really good at blocking the Phalanx, so sure. Land. Wrath number 2! Oh! Oh no, that is disgusting. If I block here, Wrath's gonna give the +1/+1 and kill Nail. If I don't block, Wrath's gonna give +1/+1 and I'm gonna go to 1 life. A double Wrath here. Getting got. Oh, Tachova's so good if I hit lands. 3, 4. I have to be able to block everybody though, so I have to play Juniper Order Rootweaver here and not the Codex, because then I won't be able to block everything. Kick it for a counter on the Aeronauts? Or do I play Tachiyova? Oh, I can play Tachiyova and kick Juniper Order. I think we go counter on Aeronaut here. Could be making the 4/4/5/5, but the Death Touchers still block Phalanx. I think I put it on the flyer, and we are really just crossing our fingers. LVD misses a card here, and then we hit a land on top, or as our next draw. So we can just go Codex draw and then hit the land, even if we don't hit a land on top. If there's a land in the top 2 cards of our library, and LVD misses here, got a pretty good chance, I would say, of stabilizing pretty hard with Tachiova's ability. LVD passes. Well, passes through combat at least. Plays land for turn. It's 8 mana. There's a bite down. I can still play that off double Gardener, so we Codex here trying to hit the land. There's the land. It's gonna come into play tapped, unfortunately. It's a very, 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 very big deal. We can bite down on Wrath, but that's gonna require tapping both Gardeners now, so I'm not gonna do it just yet. We'll wait till the end step of LVD's turn. One life and a dream. 6 blockers against 5 attackers. If Legend draws removal, I'm dead. Removal on Nail here. But after this is Legend's one turn to win the game. Legend could win the game on other turns, but this is the one turn where Legend has the biggest chance. Because if he hit removal, we're gone. The one time we are tapped out. After this, we'll have several flying blockers every turn, and draw multiple cards every turn with Codex. Alright, Raft's getting activated. Send in the Phalanx, send in the Griffin Protector. Currently this is a-okay, like this. Could keep the Gardeners around, double block with a 4/4 and a 2/2 instead. Legend kills one of the two. This plays better against that -1/-0 draw a card trick, the timely interference thing he played on us earlier. I think we go like that. Take up the shield. Okay, so this is a different trick. Legend does get to tap two things to draw a card here. Okay. Not ideal. I can win the combat against Phalanx. I hate that I ran into this now. Where blocking with one Gardener would have been better for us, because now we're losing both creatures and Legend is keeping Phalanx. That's so sad. Right. I think we let this all resolve and then we bite down Wrath. I mean, I could bite down Phalanx, but leaving Wrath on Legend's board seems far from ideal. Yeah, I'm gonna bite down on Wrath in the end step here. I guess I could have done it before the draw resolved. Okay, that's not a land. What have you got for us, Codex? Land, land, land. There is a land. I can play the Juniper Order. Counter on the Aeronaut again. Two flying blockers. There's 4 attackers here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blockers. So we'll get the Aeronaut in there to set up Scry. Prayer of Binding is something I would love to have in my hand. That's terrifying. Another flyer here, big one. Can enlist the Phalanx and be a 7-power flyer on attacks. Glad I can just keep making 3/3 flyers. Tachova's been sick. This thing is nuts. Again, you have to make it to 7 mana, but if you do, gotta try really hard to lose the game after that. I guess the other thing that's been sick is whenever we've had Tachova, we've had like the Codex to make sure we're like drawing 2 cards a turn, or Nail to make sure we're drawing 2 cards a turn so that we can still hit a land drop every single turn after having Tachova, which is pretty big. Okay, we didn't hit a land drop this turn. So now we have to worry about all these flyers. We're going to have to Prayer of Binding the Sky Knight for certain. I only have 2 flying blockers left if I attack with Nail here. Don't like that. Don't like that at all, but I have Prayer of Binding. I can do it while Legend is tapped out. Then if Legend top decks removal, we go to 1. Because we'll be at 3 life after I Prayer of Binding. Almost feel like I don't attack here. Legend has Negate in his deck though, so maybe I should have just prayed while he's tapped out. But I don't think I attack that turn. I don't think I attack till I draw another land. The play was probably just main phase Prayer of Binding. Pass. Phyrexian Missionary kicked. That's pretty big. That's a Wrath. That's a Wrath again. I guess now I get to Prayer of Binding this Wrath. Wrath is such a card. Tachiova is such a card, luckily for us, but Wrath is quite a card too. Now I can't really afford to spend my removal on one of these flyers like I wanted to. Oh. Get the 1/1 that makes another 1/1? Because Legend can do that at instant speed to double buff Protector, but that still just makes it 5 power. Whoa. Instant speed 2 1/1s is Legend's choice here. I guess because, yeah, with Griffin Protector, makes a good block against my flyers. Makes a big block on Niall. I just feel like I hold the Prayer Binding then. Try to ruin that. Come on, land. There we go. Oh, Legend's trying to go wide and have enough creatures to put me to 0. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2 more creatures. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blockers versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 attackers. 9 attackers, I get rid of 1. It's 8 attackers. I'm at 3 life. I feel like Prayer of Binding can make that not work for Legend. Unless Legend draws a counterspell. I think I'm again not attacking with Nail, sadly. Play Root Walla. This is so rough. The 1 life and a dream game. I am actually soaking up a lot of my mana here, turning them into lands, but it's entirely necessary on this board state. Maybe I should play Root Wall because I can still Prayer of Binding. I just have to tap some of my creatures to do it, which is not ideal. Oh, you know what? I should have attacked with Nail, because I did get the red source now, so Nail hitting my opponent draws me another card. I feel like I'm like 1 tapped creature from death every turn. Alright, Legend passes. There's a land immediately. I think I will play the Root Walla this turn. We are versus Legend again. Oh, Joda's Codex is free now, so just free draw a card. Argivian Phalanx is 1 mana? Argivian Phalanx is 1 mana. So now I can Phalanx, attack with Niall and still hold up Prayer of Binding. "13 cards in deck to find this win. Shalai's Acolyte's pretty big. Hydromancer copies any creature I control. My flyers are all legendary though. The ones I can copy. I could copy a plains and it would just be a 0/0 and die. I take Shalai's Acolyte? Or just take a land. I mean, lands are good. Hey Cowboys, how's it going? A terrifying board state. We got 1 life and a dream, Techova and a dream. Every time we play a land, we make one of our lands a 3/3. Trying to slowly but surely kill Legend over there. Got Prayer of Binding to stay safe, which will put me back to 3 life and get rid of something at instant speed. We've got Joda's Codex, which is 0 mana to draw a card every turn. I have loved the new set so far. I'm getting to play a 5-color just pile of nonsense, and we're 4-2 right now, trying to get the 5th win against Legend here. Joda's Codex is free. Again, I need to not mill out, but I think I can still Codex another couple turns here. Three flyers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attackers. 3 of them get through. Next turn we can try to flyers in for lethal, I think. For right now I'm still just sending in Niall. But yeah, next turn is the turn. Next turn's the turn where I'm like, alright, lethal in. Oh, I like reinforcements here, another instant speed thing to keep us kind of safe. And because of all these lands that are creatures, I still am holding up Prayer Binding and reinforcements. I'll just have to tap a creature or 2, which should be fine. Legend gonna counter this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 blockers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 attackers. Counter it, make 1 more attackers. 10 blockers, 10 attackers. I cannot pay for that. I can pay 10. Can I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, but then I die. If I click the auto pay button, I just lose this game. Just tap all my creatures to pay for that. That's hilarious. I can't believe I had exactly enough to pay for that. If I was okay with tapping my whole board. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 attackers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 blockers. Yikes, 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 yikes. But I can block with everybody and cast Prayer Binding after blocking. Okay. Legend has 1 card in hand here at 11 life. If I get rid of 1 flyer, Legend has 2 flying blockers. Legend blocks there and takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Exactsies. Not exactsies, slightly over. If Legend has like a fog here, then I just lose if I go for it though. But I really feel like I go for it. The Shalia's Acolyte I can play post-combat. Legend needs 2 instant speed removal spells to survive now, because Legend blocks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm just doing it. I'm doing it, whatever. Don't look! I can't watch. Oh! Legend says, good game! 1 life and a dream! Good lord. Tachova's nasty. It turns out, math is also for attackers. I got a mastery orb. Look at that thing. It's got some streaks in it. It's got some road marks.
GG.
Thanks for the 100 bits, Rivo. Thanks everybody for all the GGs. We're 5-2 now with this domain deck. This is a fun one. This is a sweet one. All right. We're on the play here with only 2 lands. Thank you for the 100 bits, Sudoku. Welcome back. God, I love Techova. I love Bite Down, but we need a blue source. We're not really getting anywhere here. We're going to have to mulligan this. This is very keepable. These are all our early game plays. Yeah, this format is fun. This can be just some wild board states. I could see getting tired of it the same way I get tired of aggressive formats of just being like, I'm so tired of wild, massive board states and doing math over and over and over. But, I don't know, format seems pretty cool. I'll trade into the Elassial Core. I don't really need extra mana right now, so I'm just going to curve out my most aggressive creatures. Anointed Peacekeeper. Make one of my cards in hand cost 2 more to cast? Alright, sorry Deathbloom Gardener. And Court of Calls gets to see my whole hand as well, so Court of Calls knows I don't have any follow-up here. Cord's probably going to kill this Root Walla. Now. Not in love with it. Not in love with it. Because this is +4/+4 once I play Aquafire. You know, I guess I'm just not attacking. Oh, hey Shadow, how's it going? Welcome. That was a wild game against Legend. That was a super long one. Yeah, the early access events are always super fun. Getting to play with all the other streamers and video producers is pretty sick. Play Deathbloom Gardener if I just tap out. I think I'd rather hold up Bite Down and Root Walla's buff ability. This is looking pretty bad. I've got a lot of mana here. Cord's got a lot of creatures. Not again! Oh no, it was Mr. Metronome. Mr. Metronome's the one who had a super token deck that just demolished me because he cast Darien, which gave the whole board +1/+1. But it looks like Cord is going to do the same thing to me here. Destroy me with a field of 1/1s. This is pretty disgusting. I don't even think I have a good bite down target right now. Alright, whatever, let's just tap out and let Cord do what he's gonna do, because I don't really have a win con. So I just have to sit here and pray. Well, thanks for the follow, Shadow. Johnny, a little late on that one. And thanks for the follow, Quantum Goob. Maybe that was the Johnny one was for Quantum there. Yeah, thanks everybody.
Together, we are unstoppable.
And Conscious Conscience, thank you very much for the follow. I'm currently dying to Court of Calls, hardcore. We are very dead. Fortner first, thank you for the follow.
You're unstoppable.
Thanks for all the follows, everybody. I hope you are enjoying Dominaria United. I am enjoying it a lot so far with this 5-color domain deck, but I think Court of Calls is enjoying it just a tiny bit more with Chord's token deck. Yeah, I won against Voxy. I really thought I was going to lose against Voxy, but it was another game where I was really low on life and took it over with Tachova again. Bone splinters for lethal, that's cute. Wholly unnecessary, but very cute. Well, that is going to end today's video. If you enjoyed it and you'd like to see more, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to let the YouTube algorithm know to send some more of these videos to you in your recommended feeds. Once again, I'd like to thank Wizards of the Coast for the early access account. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.